district officer. He's been a 20-year veteran of the New Orleans Police Department and was charged this morning by the Louisiana State Police with 3 counts, 1 for prostitution, and then 1 for injuring records, and the other one is malfeasance in office. So on this information alone, we have to follow due process, and I will follow due process, but it's going to happen very, very quickly. With Officer Johnson, we have opened up an internal investigation, which is a due process step we must take. That investigation was opened this morning. It is being fast-tracked because the finding, now that we have a probable cause standard, we'll let the finding occur this week, and we'll take some immediate action. It's my plan to have a removal from this agency as quickly as possible. That's what I know. What would you like to know from me?
All right, Aubrey.
We've been reviewing the court records. Talk about, if you're able to, just how long this went unnoticed for, and any steps to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Well, I can't answer that because, as you know, it's not our investigation. It was the investigation by the LSP, so I can't really speak to it specifically. So how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? A lot of it has to do with who do we hire. You know, if we hire corrupt-minded people, you're going to have a corrupt-minded result, right? So the hiring is very important, and y'all have heard me speak about our vacancies, but you know, I could fill every single vacancy today, but that doesn't mean that's who you want, right? And I think that officers would rather work shorthanded than to work with a criminal wearing a badge. And so I will not hire just to fill a vacancy. And as I said, he will be given due process, but probable cause is a pretty high standard that has already been met. And so we will work our side on what we're required to do. But that's the key. And then also there are some officers who you hire them and they get corrupted along the way. That doesn't necessarily mean they came into the agency with that, but there was a tendency for it. So it is all in, a lot of it has to do with the hiring and good leadership as well. Leaders who step in and go, something's not right, and they start asking questions. So yes, it's more than just even how we hire. Okay?
Amelia?
Do you guys expect any additional arrests? Can you share any more information about his ties to Jeanette Cooper?
I know about the ties. What I have been told as of this morning, and again, it's not our investigation, but as of this morning or midday, that they doesn't look like there's going to be anybody else, but that's what I understand from the colonel and the LSP investigators, yes. Okay?
Missy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lauren, can you clarify the nature of the prostitution charge? Was he hiring prostitutes for himself? Was he hiring them for other people?
I do know that based on the evidence that they used for the probable cause arrest today, there was indication, it should be in your court records already as a public, something you can see publicly, was for himself. At least we know what that has occurred. Okay?
Gino? Telemundo?
Jambalaya.
Jambalaya.
Jambalaya News. Since when were they investigating this case, and what were the signs or allegations that motivate them to investigate? Since when?
You know, I think that I can't tell you I've been given those kind of details. I have not been briefed yet one-on-one to that depth. I was given the big picture, which I understand. I would be in the same position. When I get that information, I'll be happy to share that with you. LSP, I don't know if it's going to choose to make a more detailed statement with you, but we have to turn all those questions over to LSP, okay? I would tell you if I knew.
Chris?
Yes, Chris.
Court records show an alleged pattern Johnson leaving his post and even traveling as far as New Orleans East
Yes.
to have sex.
Yes.
What type of danger did he put his coworkers in?
Tremendous danger. He jeopardized and compromised the safety of his fellow officers as well. And so we will be looking on our side, we're going to actually look into this as well regarding patterns. Was there something we didn't see, or was there something we didn't step in and intervene and had questions? That's a leadership issue, okay? So, but not every leader is going to know that they've got somebody who is that corrupt-minded. They don't know everything about a person. And so we're going to look on our side too. Were there things we needed to see and to shore anything up, to break this? You know, one good thing I'll say about NOPD, you know, this is so disappointing. It's not only disappointing, it's disgusting. And fellow officers absolutely are terribly put out by it. This is not the culture of NOPD today. I've been in this police culture for 43 years. This is not who we are. And I will defend these officers, and although we have to go through this terrible news day, and we'll own it, I own it, but it's not the culture. You're looking at an individual who compromised a badge, and this is a noble profession, and that's why I'm disgusted. That's all I have to say about it today.
Superintendent, if I could, a quick
Yeah,
follow-up.
sure.
Also
Go ahead,
in the
Chris.
court records, it alleges that Officer Johnson was potentially texting with Miss Colbert
Yes, I know.
and alerting her to possible undercover
Right.
agents in the area. Do you believe that if that wasn't happening, that this criminal ring, this enterprise, so to speak, would have been taken off the street sooner?
Possibly, Chris. It is possible. You know, I will also say, I mean, we live in America, and we have a system of justice here that he will have his due process as well. We consider people innocent until proven guilty, but probable cause is still a pretty high standard. And so that is why I'm put out today by it, but he still has the right to be represented and to challenge the evidence of the state's case. He has the right to challenge this, okay? And he's going to be given that full process. But I don't have to wait for the results of a criminal investigation. I don't have to wait. And I'm not going to wait. We're going to do our own investigation, and I will make a decision one way or the other. And if our investigation has holes in it, he will be given that opportunity. But until then, that's why we call it due process, okay? Challenge it. You tell me, Officer Johnson, you tell me why we shouldn't rely on this kind of information. He'll be given that opportunity.
All right, thank
Okay.
you all for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thank you.